Mr. Philip Goldsborough. He's with the Pocomoke Indian Nation. Come over here and tell us what you're doing there, Mr. Philip. How you doing?
Found a piece of slate on the Pocomoke River shed, and we're currently drilling a hole in it with a flint drill bit on a pump drill. And the fly weight, which is keeping it going, was also found on the watershed, and the hole was drilled in it in a similar method. And then we knock the edges off to make it more round. And once we get through this piece of slate, we're going to make a gargay out of it to hang around our neck. Once the point goes all the way through, we go to the other side, and that gives it a tapered hole on both sides, of what we find in real artifacts when we come across them, called a gargay.
Right.
And over here in the box, there's a couple.
Now here he just filmed that. I mean, he just drilled that by hand using that weight. And what kind of stone's in there, Mr. Phillip? And that tip?
That's a piece of flint.
Piece of flint.
Yep.
Okay.
And what we're making is something like this. Here's a couple of pieces we made, and these are petroglyphs. And these petroglyphs we didn't come up with. They're the ones that the Susquehanna people would have placed on rocks on the Susquehanna River, which we can find now on the internet. And you can see this has been drilled in a piece of leather strap, which makes a gargay, which we can wear for decorative purposes. Okay.
Yeah, and so would these have meaning or like any type of symbolism with it?
I don't know unless this is what they call the stingray.
Okay.
Possibly. Some sort of bird.
Yep.
But these are not something I came up with. These are actual petroglyphs.
Gotcha.
Okay? This is an arrow, a spear.
Can you show me the handle that you that you had? All right, now this is really cool because what it does is he takes this handle and this will launch it. Go ahead, Mr.
An atlatl. And it's got a notch in the end and then a fork to hold it. And then when I throw, I can kind of guide it with my hand. If I want to hit that bush over there, when I throw, you see my arm is much longer, so I'll get a lot more speed out of that when I throw it. Okay? And if I was throwing it at a very large animal, there's 4 or 5 people were fighting this animal, I can go back up and not get close to the animal and pull this shaft out of the animal, leaving it in.
And then reload
and
your
then
tip.
I can reload with a new point and go again.
Yeah.
Okay? Wow. This is arrow wood. This wood grows locally, like a bush in the forest.
I know we were over here.
Doesn't have a lot of branches on it, so it's easily cleaned up with a piece of flint scraper.
Yeah, so can this be found around our area?
Oh yeah, all over the eastern shore. Okay. Here's a piece here that's raw, ready to be made into an arrow shaft.
Yep. Look how straight that is, just without even type of anything.
What we end up with is an arrow like this. This is also a piece of arrow wood with turkey feathers and a point made from a piece of quartz off the Chesapeake watershed.
And that's just tree wax, or just
this is a sap from the pine tree, and it's put together with a cordage called Indian hemp, which is also a bush or weed that grows locally, and is woven into a cordage like so, and that's what's wrapped around the shaft to secure the point.
And then the sap will be put over top of this.
Sap there to keep this from unraveling.
Right.
Exactly right. So it took time to make these things, so you didn't waste them for sure. They weren't usually made. It wasn't in the store to go buy them in, so you had to make it.
Okay.
And
now
that type of bow would have been used to shoot it.
Right now, okay. How many arrowheads have you personally found in your lifetime? And you and your family and your father and all that? I mean, thousands?
The family collection is probably around 6,000.
Okay, so his family has 6,000. So for every one of those 6,000 points, there would have been 6,000 shafts.
Right.
So just imagine the work and the years and the time that
so that means people lived on Delmarva for a lot of time, at least 10,000 years. Some people claim even further back than that, but we're pretty sure about 10,000.
Yeah.
These are real artifacts in the box here, and this is a Susquehanna broadpoint, which is real, which is very similar to one you see I manufactured here. So we know how to know how that was done and can reproduce those. Okay. This is probably a knife. Okay, not a spear. This is probably a spear. The triangle type points were the arrow points. The smaller ones were usually shot on arrows, which is only about 500 to 800 years ago. Before that, everything was a spear, according to archaeologists.
Right. Okay. So, and once again, we're at Chicone Village up here at Handsell, Vienna. And you can check these guys out at PocomokeIndianNation.org. Thank you. All right.